Happy Monday. That weekend sucked, but it's time to bounce back. Let's talk some more baseball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and you heard it. It was a rough weekend for the bets. Great weekend in life, but a bad weekend for the bets. That's for sure. We lost 3 or 4 bets on the hook. It's just one of those weekends. You're going to have those during the baseball season, but we need a good week. We absolutely do. It's been frustrating to me. I'm trying to narrow in on what's working this year, what's not. But of course, we'll go over all that in the recap in a little bit. Quick reminder why I'm in this little cold streak. That this video has a ton of info for you guys to get and hopefully help you win your own bets. I spent hours on these research slides, and I love getting those comments. I use your hitter matchups, got this winner, use your pitcher K matchups, whatever it was, pitcher report. Love to hear it. So hopefully you guys are using that because, it's there to help save you time and help give you some info. But it's time for the best bets to turn around. But anyways, any graphics you see in this video are from an app called OUTLIER, the best betting research tool on the market today. Click that link below. You get a 7-day free trial. And by the way, Tuesday is Dinger Tuesday again, so be sure to or check that video out and enter that Dinger Tuesday contest. So here we go, MLB fun fact. This is going way back. On May 1st, 1920, Leon Cador and Joe Descher each threw 26 innings in a 1-1 tie. That's right, 26 innings, 1-1 tie. They ended, I don't know why they ended in a tie. That is a complete game, 26 inning, 1 run, no decision. That's like worse than Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh, that's for sure. But in this video, we're going to recap that terrible weekend, and then we're going to go over the good and bad hitter matchups, and then the pitcher strikeout matchups, and then, of course, give you the full pitcher report and end it with those best bets and the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as we're on our way and very close to 40,000 subscribers. Let's get it rolling, and that means it's recap time. All right, here it is. Like we do every day, we have to show the bets, and I don't want to today, but let's talk Friday. 2 and 3 day. Mets team total over 4.5 and Padres under 5.5. Padres got the job done easily. Mets hooked me, ended on 4 in Colorado. They were horrendous. They couldn't hit Senzatella. It was just pathetic. Logan Allen under 16.5 outs. Trusting the Astros bats on the road was my fault. I think he went 6 full innings. He got the job done. Then the under 7.5 Atlanta San Fran. Atlanta tied it up at 4 later in the game, and that's when we lost. But Senga under 6.5 Ks. The one time on the hook, we actually won. And then Soroka over 16.5 outs. Probably the easiest win on the weekend. And then we moved to Saturday. Saturday wasn't terrible. 2 and 2. But Jameson Taillon over 16.5 outs. We started the day with a nice, easy winner. And then the Twinkies happened. Guys, again, this is one of those. I was talking to Discord. Twins had the lead going to the 8th and 9th. Here we go. Griffin Jax, 8th inning. Duran, 9th inning. We got the setup. Twins, great bullpen, great elite arms. And what happens? Well, Jax gives up a 2-run bomb. And then Duran gives up 1 run in the 9th. And then the Twins get 1 in the 9th, but they don't. They fall 1 run short. The bullpen just blew it. Again, one of those rough luck ones. Logan Webb over 5.5 Ks. Maybe this was the easiest win. That was pretty simple as well. Clay Holmes under 5.5 Ks. He hooked us. He had 6 on the dot. Under Ks are something I am definitely going to be looking into. Maybe not betting as much, that's for sure. But speaking of that, Spencer Strider under 17.5 outs was a loss. He needed a quick 5th and 6th just to get it done. And guess what? He did for his first time ever this year. Giants bats did not come through. And then Arizona, Minnesota team total parlay. I needed 4 runs from Arizona, and they got 2. Guys, they scored 6 runs in 3 games in Cincinnati in the greatest hitting conditions ever. I mean, obviously there's weather problems and weather delays, but it's Cincinnati. Cincy themselves scored like 20 in that series. So I don't know. Arizona just sucks overall, I guess, or at least this weekend. And then this was the worst bet of the entire MLB season. George Kirby under 5.5 Ks. He had never had more than 4 in his 3 starts so far this year. He was not missing bats. I've seen him pitch. And what happens? He turns into Nolan Ryan. And I'm not just saying that. He tied a season high, season high in the majors this year with 14 strikeouts. I mean, what an idiot I am. That was brutal. Again, the only good thing is that, again, we're half unit in all these. I will have some 1-unit plays this week, but just a brutal 0-3 Sunday. I thought we'd, be profitable and have a nice Sunday, but it did not happen that way. So we lost a few units, down 5.34 now on the year. Again, long season. These kind of days will happen, but hopefully that just means we're due for a hot streak this week. So that's what I got for the recap. Now let's talk the hitter matchups. All right, we got 12 good hitter matchups for you today, starting with Freddie Freeman, 12 for 36 with a home run off of Nick Pivetta. And we got some Rays players up here. In fact, three right there in the next four. Josh Lowe, 7 for 17. Aranda, 5 for 12. And Yandy Diaz, 5 for 12, all off Brian Bayo. And then Freddie's teammate, Shohei, 4 for 12, 3 extra base hits, 2 bombs off of Pivetta. And you go over there on the right side, you got another Tampa Bay Ray and Danny Jansen, 3 for 10 off Brian Bayo. Ian Happ, 4 for 9. Mike Trout, 4 for 9 off Jeffrey Springs. And then Caballero, 4 for 7 off of Brian Bayo as well. So a lot of Tampa Bay Rays in the good hitter matchup. So let's go check out the bad hitter matchups now. And we got Dansby Swanson. How about 6 for 40? That's not very good with 14 Ks. And then we got Teoscar Hernandez, 4 for 26, 7 Ks, so on and so on. Jose Ramirez, I'm not too worried about that. I don't think Wade Miley's very good. Ellie De La Cruz, 1 for 11, 2 Ks. Rowdy Tellez, 0 for 14. And then you see Spencer Steer down there and Taylor Walls. So that's what we got for the good and bad hitter matchups. Now let's take a look at the strikeouts. All right, here are the two good pitcher strikeout matchups. Again, this doesn't mean it's an automatic bet. I just like to give you the higher strikeout pitchers for the day against high strikeout teams in the last 3 weeks. So we start out with Luis Ortiz versus the Reds. Reds 10th highest K rate versus righties last 3 weeks, 22.5%. Both of these, by the way, were borderline. They're not just unbelievable matchups or anything, but Ortiz, 71 Ks in 65 innings. He's been up and down with his Ks lately, though. Last 6 starts, 4, 9, 7, 3, 5, and 7 strikeouts. He does have a much higher K rate on the road, though, or at home, sorry, which is where he is 32.2% compared to on the road, 20.7, and a similar K rate versus righties and lefties. The second one, Merrill Kelly versus the Seattle Mariners. Mariners, 9th highest K percentage versus righties last 3 weeks, 22.6%. And then we got Merrill Kelly, 72 Ks in 76 innings. Now, when you look at his overall K rate, you think, okay, 24%. It's above average, nothing spectacular, but it's really changed lately. Ks have really picked up. Last 5 starts, 8, 11, 6, 6, and 8 strikeouts. Now, his K rate in March and April, how about 18.5%? His K rate in May, percentage in May, 27.1%. So he is pitching a lot more like a 27% pitcher in the last few starts. Slightly lower K rate at home, though, 22.2% compared to on the road, 25.3. And then higher K rate versus lefties, 25.7 compared to 21.4 to righties. So that's what we got for the pitcher strikeout matchups. Now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, these are the first 5 matchups. Only a 9-game slate today in the MLB. We start with Wade Miley versus Luis Ortiz. Miley's only thrown 2 innings this year. I doubt he goes more than 2 or 3 innings again here. Luis Ortiz, 5 straight starts of 3 or less earned runs allowed. Has been a little shaky off and on, especially with that command, 11.8% walk rate. And by the way, just a reminder, home runs per 9 is also on the right side. Don't be fooled by Wade Miley's 4.5. That is obviously in only 2 innings. So. And then we got Perez versus Burrows, a game I don't want anything to do with. Perez has not pitched since September 20th, 2023, going up against a guy who has pitched 13 innings this year in his 3 starts, giving up 4, 4, and 0 earned runs. And then Matthew Boyd versus Zach Wheeler. Nice little pitching matchup here. Boyd, 3 or less earned runs in 11 of 12 starts this year, so he's given his team a chance to win. And then Wheeler, we know he's a stud, but he got crushed in his last start. I will say this, it was against the Braves. 11 of Wheeler's 25 earned runs given up this year have been to the Atlanta Braves. So it's just a team that absolutely owns them. So I wouldn't look too much into it like he's struggling or anything like that. But he's been a stud otherwise. And then Shane Baz of the Rays, struggling overall lately. K's down in May, just 19 strikeouts in 31 innings. 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 Ks in his last start versus Texas. And then Brian Bayo, 2+ walks and 4 or less Ks in 5 of his last 6 starts. Not very ideal. You see that expected ERA over 5, walk rate almost to 12. Just does not look great to me, and a high whip as well. And then Chris Sale versus Aaron Savali. Sale absolutely dealing still. 1 or less earned run in 4 straight, 8+ Ks in 5 of his last 6. It's just crazy. He didn't make the good pitcher strikeout matchup because Milwaukee's actually been good against lefties in the last 3 weeks. So Aaron Savali managed to give up 1 or 2 earned runs in his last 3 starts. But to me, I mean, he's just He's a guy who gives up fly balls, can give up a lot of home runs as well. So that's what we got for the first 5 matchups. Now let's check out page 2. And here are the final 4. Jose Barrios of the Blue Jays, 6+ innings now in 6 of his last 7 starts. So he's been going deep into games, been up and down with his Ks. He's been pretty decent. I know I'm not exactly a big fan of him, but he's had some really good games and with some high strikeouts, and then some games where it just doesn't look great. So Palante, though, he's struggling lately. He's given up 7 earned runs last start. He gave up 7 earned runs to the Royals last start. 13 earned runs allowed in his last 15.2 innings. That is not good, in case you don't know. Jeffrey Springs, the lefty, giving up 12 earned runs in his last 14.2 innings. That's over 3 starts. So it has been a struggle for him lately as well. The issue, how about 10 walks in those 3 starts? His command has lost him. Or he has lost his command, I think is how you say that. Kikuchi absolutely can't throw a strike. My goodness, guys. He has 4 or more walks in 4 straight. Yes, 4 or more walks in 4 straight starts. 18 walks in 21.1 innings. His last 21.1. Almost 1 walk an inning over 20. That's crazy. But also with all that, he's only given up 5 earned runs in those 21.1 innings. So he has somehow dodged all the bullets. And then Dustin May, Carrot Top, been okay overall this season. K stuff has gone up with 8 plus Ks in 3 of his last 5. Sorry, 3 of his last 4. I'm having a hard time talking, apparently. Just 5 Ks, though, in his last start versus Cleveland. And then Nick Pivetta of the Padres had his second blow-up start in his last 5. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Giants. Other than this, few blow-up starts he's had this year, he's been pretty solid. And then Emerson Hancock has turned it around. He really has. He's still not missing a ton of bats, but 3 or less earned runs now in 8 of his last 9 starts. He's giving the team a chance to win. And they just allowed 4 hits in his last 11 innings as well. And then Merrill Kelly, after 2 bad starts, he gave up 0 earned runs last start in 7 innings with 8 Ks versus the Braves. And outside of 3 bad starts he's had this year, he's been really, really good in the other ones. So that's what we got. Again, all the averages are on the bottom to help you out. And that's what we got for the research help and the pitcher report. And now it is finally time for the best bets. This first one takes us out to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the Brewers host the Atlanta Braves. Braves on the money line, minus 190. Brew Crew on the money line, plus 160. Total of 7.5 runs. Call me crazy. Let's do it. Underdog play of the day. Give me the Brewers on the money line, plus 160 on FanDuel for a half unit here. This is a big time play on the number. In case you guys don't know, it's way too respectful of a line for Atlanta. I just don't understand. They do not deserve to be a 190 favorite on the road versus a decent team. That's just how it is. I know Chris Sale's on the mound. I get it. But guess what? Chris Sale has been on the mound 13 times this year. Guess what the Braves record is in his 13 starts? 6-7. So if you bet the opponent on the money line in all 13 of his starts, you are definitely making some money this year, because I would guess 100% of the time they were the favorite in that one with him on the mound. So they're also 3-5 in Chris Sale's 8 road starts. So that's one thing. Now let's talk the spot. Braves are traveling from the West Coast in San Francisco, while the Brewers just staying home because they just hosted the Padres. A much better spot here in the schedule for the Brewers. Now, let's talk about that starting pitcher matchup between Sale and Savali. We know Sale. He's been a stud. There's no denying it. I'm not here to say he's terrible. He's going to get lit up. I mentioned on the pitcher report, 1 or lesser in runs allowed in 4 straight, 8 plus Ks in 5 of the last 6. And then Savali, a guy who is prone to giving up some home runs, like I said, small sample size so far this year. Overall, just a decent starting pitcher. He's limited opponents to 2 or lesser in runs in 3 straight starts, so a pitch to contact kind of guy. Again, in this spot, I think we're going to see a flat offense from the Braves. And speaking of that offense, the Braves versus righties last 3 weeks, 20th in WRC plus, 24th slugging, 23rd ISO power. This team is flat out not hitting. They just aren't. And it's not just last 3 weeks. It is the entire flippin' season. I mean, sometimes they have little flashes of it. And then if you look at the Brewers the last 3 weeks versus lefties, they're 3rd best in the major leagues. 3rd highest WRC plus, 131. 5th highest slugging. 3rd highest batting average, hitting 300. They are absolutely rolling versus lefties. Not a ton of sample size, but at least they've done well. And again, I'm not saying they're going to roll over Chris Sale here, but the last 5 lefties to face Milwaukee, I know this one because I lost the bet, but Andrew Abbott, Brewers scored 5 off of him. Ranger Suarez, Brewers got 2. Luzardo, they scored 12, if you guys remember that crazy game. Garrett Crochet, they got 2 off of him. Falter, who's been pitching well, they got 3 off of him. Again, some of these are great pitchers. Luzardo, Crochet, Suarez, Andrew Abbott, they're still scoring at least a couple, in some instances 5, 12. And I honestly think if we can get a couple, we got a chance here at the end of the game. Because then we move to the bullpen. The Brewers rested. Only 2 low leverage arms were used on Sunday. They're ready to roll. Braves, they used Montero, who they just got recently, and De Los Santos, decently rested other than that. But overall, the Brewers have the better offense in these splits. I think it's a much better spot for Milwaukee. You've seen it time and time again in the majors where teams just come out flat after a long road trip, the very next day, all that kind of stuff. And starting pitcher is really the only advantage the Braves have. Again, it's a big one. I'm not sitting here saying it's not, but Atlanta also is a team that finds ways to lose. I mean, you've seen it all season. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. to see them as a almost 200 favorite is laughable to me. Doesn't mean they can't win. It's just a laughable line. And 2-8 in the last 10. And by the way, those 3 series they were 2-8. The Giants, D-backs, and Red Sox. If you don't know, they've been some struggling teams. So again, this is a play on the number. I love the value. Give me the Brew Crew on the money line at plus 160 as my first best bet. All right, we head out to Fenway Park where the Red Sox host the Tampa Bay Rays. Devil Rays is what I want to call them. Red Sox, money line, minus 112. Rays, money line, minus 104. Total of 9 runs. This wasn't my plan. We got a couple money line bets tonight, so give me the Rays on the money line, minus 104 on FanDuel. This is a half unit play as well. This is the 3rd or 4th time now we are fading the team coming off Sunday Night Baseball. You guys have heard it time and time again on these Monday videos, and it has been very successful for us. So let's break down the game now. Starting pitcher matchup, Shane Baz versus Brian Bayo. Baz, he's had good success versus the Red Sox. In his 3 starts in his career, 19 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs with 24 strikeouts. And by the way, one of those was this season. 11 Ks, 2 hits, 1 earned run versus Boston. Absolutely one of his best performances of the year. Now, lately, he's been a little up and down. His problem has been the long ball. He's given up 13 home runs. In this flat spot for Boston, though, I think Baz can pitch pretty well. Also, you got some wind blowing in, things like that in this weather that could help limit some of those home runs. And then we got Brian Bayo. His K and walk ratio or his K and walk rate are pretty similar. That is not good. You never want that to be the case. 15.9 K rate, 11.6% walk rate, 24 walks overall to 33 Ks. He's given up almost 12 hits per 9 innings. That's not Senzatella level, but that's not good. Expected ERA of over 5. He is a massive pitch to contact guy, pitch to hit guy, really. Only got 10 total whiffs in his last 2 starts, if that tells you anything. He struggles versus that Rays offense also, which we're going to talk about right here because you saw it earlier. The Rays, Josh Lowe, Jonathan Aranda, Yandy Diaz, Danny Jansen, Jose Caballero, a combined 20 for 51, hitting 392 off Brian Bayo. Last 3 weeks versus righties, also the Rays. How about the 3rd highest WRC plus in the majors, 3rd highest slugging, 10th highest walk rate, 8th most runs scored. This team's swinging it well. Now, I get it. Their bats go down a little bit when they get on the road, but the Red Sox also haven't swung the bat well at home either. But Red Sox last 3 weeks versus righties, 16th WRC plus, 13th slugging, 10th most runs scored. I mean, so you can call it a wash if you want, but really the Rays have been swinging it better. And then the bullpen, advantage Rays. They used Uceda for 25 pitches. He's probably not going to be available. It's really the only important arm. The Red Sox, they threw the kitchen sink to try to win that Sunday or that weekend series in New York. They did, but they used Weissert yesterday on Sunday for a 2nd straight day. Aroldis Chapman for a 2nd straight day. Wilson for a 2nd straight day. They got the series win, but it's going to hurt them in this one. I think there's a big-time advantage for Tampa Bay. So overall, Rays in a much better spot. Coming off playing in Miami, which, again, if you don't know, that's in the same state where they play. So coming off a huge Sunday night baseball series, like I said, we've seen a lot of teams come flat after that Sunday night baseball. They're traveling really late, all that kind of stuff. Rays swinging it well, match up well with Brian Bayo. They have the bullpen advantage. I like the odds here. Give me the Rays on the money line. That is my 2nd best bet. Now, we have a smaller slate. I don't have anything I love that I want to force out the night before. So right now it's going to be the 2 best bets, but I also want to give you some other info. So let's talk some hitters that I like today as well. All right, let's talk 3 hitters that I like today. Haven't bet yet, but just kind of want to talk through it with you guys. First one is Jose Ramirez, hitting 391 in the last 7 days. This is crazy. 1+ hit in 19 of his last 20. Guess who bet on him on the 1 no-hit game? This guy. That's right. If you guys remember, I ended his hit streak. It was insane. He's also crushing lefties, hitting 421 off the southpaws, hitting 319 at home as well, facing Wade Miley. He was just picked up for a reason, guys. This pitcher is not good. He might not go that deep, but I think he can get a hit off him here in the first couple at bats. Second one, Jonathan Aranda of the Tampa Bay Rays. Brain fart there. Hitting 316 in the last 7 days. As you saw earlier, also 5 for 12 off Brian Bayo. He crushes righties, 338 average. 178 WRC plus off of them. He has 1+ hit in 32 of 44 games versus a righty starter. 1+ hit overall in 7 of his last 10. The third one, Christian Encarnacion Strand. Maybe a little under the radar right now, but he's only played 3 games since his IL stint. So he just got back from injury. In the 3 games over the weekend, how about 7 for 13? That's how you come back from injury. He's also hit righties a little bit better in his short career, 250 compared to 200 versus lefties. He's facing Luis Ortiz. God, in my opinion, it's about an average matchup. But Ortiz has given up a 276 average to righties this year. Strand has faced him twice, went 1 for 2. Like I said, it's overall our average matchup, but I think it's just kind of riding the hot bat here. At least someone to keep an eye on, even if you don't want to bet him today or anything like that. So those are 3 hitters that I looked at that I like. I may add a HRR bet for one of them, may add a hit parlay. We'll see. But Jose Ramirez, Jonathan Aranda, and Encarnacion Strand are those hitters. So that's what we got for everything today. Before we get out of here, let's check out that recap. All right, there it is. A couple money lines, keeping it simple. Give me the Brew Crew on the money line, plus 160, maybe the biggest underdog we have taken so far this year. And then the Rays on the money line, minus 104 on FanDuel for a half unit. Again, any added plays will be in the pinned comments below on X and on Discord. We are flipping due for a good week, and I want to have it this week. So let's start on Monday. But thank you guys for watching. As always, really appreciate the support day in and day out. Hope you all have a great Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.